Hi, I'm Byron Gracie. I'm one of the technologists here in the broadcasting program at Niagara College, and I'd love to show you around some of our facilities. This is the television studio, television production studio. You'll see above us there is a lighting grid. You can move things anywhere you need to depending on what kind of setup will be in this space in terms of how many people or how many different scenes that you have as well. So that's basically what the lighting grid is for, what we do with it. Basically make sure the cameras have enough light to work with. And beside me here is one of our television studio cameras. Every student in the broadcasting program will get their hands on these things, and this is the space in which you will do that. These are professional cameras with teleprompters on the front, so when people are speaking to the audience, they'll be able to read the lines that they're supposed to speak on the screen, and it looks like you're looking right to the camera lens because it actually is a mirror in front of the camera lens. So your eyes are almost looking at the viewers at home. So this is an example of a pedestal and professional studio camera that we have. We have 3 of them in this studio, and we bring more cameras in as needed. Point of view cameras, robotic cameras, that sort of thing. We have a lot of infrastructure around the studio in order to connect up more sound sources, more microphones, more things that play music, computers, or even if you bring in an iPhone or something like that, we can bring those things in. So this is the space itself where you set up the scene that you want to portray. And just upstairs here, we have the control room, everything that goes on behind the scenes to make it all come together. So we can take a look at that too. So this is the control room for the television studio. Everything here is as it would be in a professional broadcast station, except maybe it's a little smaller. We have fewer of the things that somebody like TSN might have. But your basic video switcher, lots of pretty lights. Looks intimidating at first, but it's actually what controls what you see on the television show or news magazine, whatever kind of programming it is. Beside the person who controls what you see is the person who calls what you see. That's the director, and the technical director actually pushes the buttons. And then there'll be a script assist and a producer and lots of other people also kind of vying for position in a control room to basically choose between what's available and allow you, the viewer, to see what's most important at the time. Back on the rear deck here, some more supporting roles. We have video quality control, camera control operator, video playout, and titling and graphics. So these people all work together. They usually wear intercom headsets and communicate very quietly and calmly, mostly. And they put the show together according to a script, or if it's a live show, you really have to be on your toes, and you really have to be, what's the word, professional, I guess, is the best word. And you capture things that don't happen twice. So it's a great learning experience to be able to do those different kinds of productions. And this is the place where everything comes together. So the other half of television production or any video production is the audio side. And this is an oldie but a goodie, an analog audio console that we use here for the television studio. And very straightforward. Looks complicated, but everything is just repetition of the same thing. So when you get here and learn how to do the audio side of things, this prepares you for that kind of work in almost any setting. This is also where our wireless mics come in and all of the other audio sources that we may have, whether it's music beds or those sorts of things, videotape rolling or other segments coming in from pre-produced segments, those sort of things. This is where everything gets mixed together so that you hear it during the production. Welcome to the film production studio. Here it's almost always a blank canvas because every film is different. Every production requires its own setup, usually taking from anywhere from a few hours to many days. So some of the facilities that we have in this space We have a bunch of set flats, which can be arranged as walls and windows and doors and those sorts of things. In the cage, we have some specialty equipment like dollies. Professional movies, you'll see shots where they kind of slowly travel across a scene. So that's generally on a dolly on rails. We have a couple of those available. We have some high-powered lights that we can mimic the sun through a window, those kinds of things. We do have a lighting grid in this space so that you can hang lights, but also equally as important, a lot of lights are on stands on the floor. And a lot of them also draw a lot of power. So we've had special equipment installed so that we have the same kind of power systems that you would find on a film location, at least in North America. So when students come here and learn film production, they're learning with the same types of cables, the same types of distribution boxes, the same types of power connects and disconnects, and they're learning the terminology as well. So this space is very flexible, doing pretty much any kind of production you want. On the wall here, we have black curtains and we also have green curtains available for green screen activity, but also a garage door that we can fit vehicles through. So you can bring a car or a truck into this space and do a commercial shoot, for example, in a vehicle in here, or do the green screen effect where it looks like people are driving, and then you just layer in the scenery after the fact. So those kinds of productions are done here. This is the film production studio. So welcome to the Radio Lab. This is the radio newsroom where Canadian press feeds come in via our subscription, and students would create the stories that will go on air on the college radio station. And surrounding the newsroom space, we have 4 radio studios. They're pretty similar to one another. Each has a desk where you sit at. There's an audio console to control all of the sources and the mixing, and your announcer microphone and headphones. There are also a couple of announce booths where you would read news stories or traffic reports or sports headlines, those sort of things, as part of the regular radio production. And as we swing around to the other end of things, this is basically the edit/production area where students will take prepackaged bits and their voiceovers that they've pre-recorded, maybe interviews in the field. They'll package them together in order to go on as a separate piece on air. An example of one of the production studios, we've standardized on digital audio consoles, which you would find in major radio stations everywhere. Lots of different types of those, but we have all the facilities here that you would have in a professional station, including this little guy over here, which is a device for taking phone calls and editing them very quickly and getting them to air for things like contests or those sort of things. So this is a typical radio studio. Welcome to what we affectionately call the Mac Lab. This is a lab full of editing computers. We do share it with other programs such as our digital photography program here at the college. But in broadcasting, you would learn the basics of video editing and even things like production note-taking in here, movie kind of scripting, set design, those sorts of things. And these machines will have things like Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, Avid Media Composer, and those kinds of tools. We also have private edit suites when you get into second and third year television or film production, which basically have similar kinds of computers in them, but it's a space where 2 or 3 people can get together and work on a project without as much distraction as a lab. This is the Mix Theater, which is a film production and lecture space combination room. For the most part, in here we have a large projection screen and theater-style seating. You're critiquing and learning about the various techniques that directors and directors of photography and filmmakers of all stripes, why they make the decisions they make. But also we have in here a Pro Tools HD rig with a professional control surface. And in third year, as a film production student, your final projects will be mixed alongside a professional, generally in this space. So when you take your film to screenings at film festivals or those sorts of things, it sounds as good as it looks. So thanks for joining us on this brief tour, and hopefully we'll see you in the hallways sometime soon.